Okay, so we are talking about postpartum. Did you watch Pretty Baby? No. I'll take that as a no.
I did
I had
not.
it on my TV and it
I
was
was like, but to
on.
be fair, we are
And then
sanding this door because it's supposed to rain tonight. So we're supposed to get it done.
Drama.
I'm currently supposed to be doing that, but I'm setting the laptop on the table instead.
That sounds like you're close to it. Yeah.
It's okay. I'm touching it.
Yeah. Okay, so Pretty Baby is about Brooke Shields and then her whole childhood and her relationship with her mom and blah, 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 blah. And then when she was in her second marriage, she was struggling with her child, like for postpartum, like completely struggling. It was actually really, really sad. And so she was open about it and wrote a book and like talked about how she didn't want to be around her baby like at all. And um she was just very unhappy. And her talking about being postpartum and wanting to take meds to, you know, work through her issues or whatever. Um, Scientology does not allow that because you don't need medicine ever. And that's
I
why
realized Brooke Shields was in Scientology.
she wasn't. No,
Oh,
Tom Cruise went
oh,
on to, it was in an interview and decided to speak about Brooke Shields'
okay.
postpartum
Now I got it.
publicly. And that's when society was like, oh, it's okay for moms to be through postpartum. Like, why? I think that was in like the early 2000s. Like, why is that? Why was that? Why did Tom Cruise have to say something
Why did a man
negative about
have to
post?
say it before?
Yes. Why did a man have to bring up postpartum to make it a big popular thing? Like, how does that fucking happen in a world full of women? Like,
I
none of
was
these
like,
men would be here if a woman didn't pop them out, right?
you're welcome.
they
You're
can't invent
welcome.
We actually grew the balls, not
Yeah.
you guys.
No, literally, I read something when I was pregnant with my son that like next time someone says grow a pair or something, and you're like, actually,
I did.
I did.
I did. You're welcome.
It's so true.
It's it's crazy how like I don't think our parents knew about postpartum the way that we talk about it now.
No, like the way like my mom had very easy pregnancies and postpartum depression to her is non-existent. So
Right.
me being sick throughout my entire pregnancy and then had postpartum depression, she
Right.
was like, "Oh, like that's actually a thing. Like you're not just sad." I'm like,
Yeah.
"What do you mean?
Yeah.
What do you
Like
mean?"
either
I
you
was like,
know or you don't.
"Yeah,
Wow.
yeah."
I
I mean, I didn't know until I was out of it. So, you know.
yeah.
I mean, you
I
have an idea. You just
You have an idea, you know something's not right, but nothing's right. Like everything changed.
Right.
You literally
no,
popped a
yeah.
child out and then they tell you, here you go, take your child home and just don't kill it.
Good luck.
You're like, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, that's crazy shit.
It's some crazy shit.
There's no book. There's no like instruction manual. Like that
There's plenty
blows
of books,
my
but they're all
mind.
different. They're all different.
And they're just an outline. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
no
And
one
babies
ever
are
could
not
have prepared
robots.
me for
Right.
having a not even 1-year-old that I had to switch to pull-ups because he would not keep his diaper on. I put
Yeah.
them backwards. I put tape on them and backwards, and he was getting them off. So he's been in pull-ups since before he was 1 year old. I'm like, no other kid that I know has had to do that. That's not
Victoria is also in pull-ups as well because she could do it. She could pull the tabs in her clothes,
oh
and
yeah,
then
that's
you
what
would
he's
hear
doing.
it.
He'd
And
be
I'm
in
like, oh,
onesies and it's off.
yeah,
And
yes.
I'm like, bro.
The only time she has tabs is for her overnight diapers because there is no way I'm ever going to wake my child up to change her diaper at
You just
nighttime.
rip the sides off.
Absolutely not. No, she's just in tabs. She sleeps
I just
12
rip
hours.
them
So
off.
she's in
But actually, Cash doesn't wake up in the middle of the night for me to change him anymore.
no,
So
I've never woken my child up to change her butt ever.
Same.
No.
I do not. If he's sleeping, I'm letting that fool sleep.
Yeah.
Unless there's a blowout and I hear the blowout. When she was a baby, absolutely I would have to do that.
Yeah. I mean,
Because she
mine
would their
typically
poop
woke
would
up.
go everywhere. Oh my gosh, it was absolutely crazy.
Mine
But
was
now
awake with poop anytime. So that
Mhm.
didn't bother me. I was like, well, he
Yeah.
lets me know.
I mean, Victoria too. She goes, "No, I'm hiding." I'm like, ugh, you're pooping. Ugh, I'm hiding.
You're like, I can smell it.
I'm hiding.
All of a sudden she's gone. You're like, what are you doing? I'm
I was like,
hiding.
all of a sudden, my kid's not up my ass. And
Yeah.
that's how I know that he's shit.
How funny. Oh, this is stuff to
Sorry, are
look
we
forward
cussing on this
to.
podcast? Because I will
Yeah,
need to.
absolutely.
I was like, I'll need to monitor. If not,
No,
I'll
we
need you
are
guys to be
no.
bleeping me.
we are
No.
putting it on YouTube with the little quotation that says "not for kids."
Well, it's not for
Oh,
kids. This is for moms.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
it's not for
moms,
kids.
moms cuss,
Moms cuss.
and that's okay.
That's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm learning to say freaking instead of fucking around my child because mine's gonna be
that's a
cussing
fair
a lot.
happy
Like,
medium.
yeah.
Victoria has definitely picked up some of the naughty language. Freaking isn't any
From
way
you?
better. And Braden.
You're like,
He's
"Hold on."
not innocent in this.
Okay. Just want to clarify.
Yeah. But yeah, freaking it doesn't sound any different than fucking from a 2-year-old. Sorry.
No, yeah. No.
That's
It
hilarious.
And
doesn't.
she also says shut up because my husband loves to tell the dogs to shut up when they bark. So she'll say shut up. I'm like, girl, you can't say that. And she'd be like, go in timeout.
Yeah, like waiting for her to tell grandpa to shut up. What does she call
Right.
grandpa?
Which one?
Your dad,
Papa.
Papa.
Oh, my dad. Just give him some weed and he'll be fine.
I feel that.
Whatever. But it's that world, I tell you.
Yeah. So, Sammy, you going by
Yes.
Sammy or Samantha or what on this
Well,
platform?
everybody else in the world except for my family members calls me Sammy.
Okay.
I was
so
like, I didn't even
Sammy.
realize Sammy's actual name was Samantha. Just kidding.
Right? You're like, wait, what? Why don't you start by telling us your postpartum experience? Because I feel
Yeah,
like
you went last time.
Yeah, and
Oh.
you've got some deep stuff, and I think we're doing a shorter podcast this time. So
Yes,
let's-
30
let's
minutes.
go with
Let's
you.
go with that. Okay, so postpartum.
You're like, where do I start?
Yeah, I was okay. As long as I was keeping busy and I wasn't literally just boob and mouth, I felt okay. My downfall was legitimately losing hair. I started losing my hair right here, and that happened to have been the 4-month regression also. And so she wasn't sleeping. I was transitioning her from a swaddle to arms out in the sleep sack, and she was in the Michelin man suit looking like a starfish. I mean, I did everything to get that kid out of the swaddle because she decided she wanted to roll fast. I was like, cool, excellent. And between no sleep or regression, hair falling out, Braden working a 72, I am a fire wife, so that's what I have to do. And nope, I was crying in my doctor's office. My hair fell out. She's like, do you want some meds? And I was like, yes. Do you want therapy? I'm like, sure. I didn't make it to therapy. Which I should probably look into. But that's another topic.
It's like shit.
But
Therapy isn't for
yeah,
everybody.
she gave.
But
Yeah.
it's worth a try for sure.
It was video therapy, and I didn't want to do that. I wanted to be separate, but it's so hard with his schedule because it literally, he's on for 48 hours, he's off for 4, but that changes every week.
Yeah, that's
And so I can't have like a consistent thing. And sometimes he has to work overtime, and sometimes he picks up shifts, or sometimes he's doing this, or where it's literally just, it's really hard. And I don't prioritize therapy, but I do prioritize drugs. So I decided to take Zoloft. And good God, that helped a lot because I was breastfeeding. And then after I was done breastfeeding, I was like, I'm still fat. Hi, Falco,
He's a
buddy.
pain in my
And then, yeah, after I was done breastfeeding, I switched to Wellbutrin, still on Wellbutrin. And I'm telling you, no sleep and a screaming baby could literally cause you some issues where you're crying a lot.
why did you switch? I know you were on Zoloft because you were breastfeeding, but when you switched, what was the reason for switching over?
Um, weight gain.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. Because when you're breastfeeding, as you know, you have to eat in order to keep your milk supply. Well, I do not eat during the day unless I'm going to brunch. Mimosa is my main meal. I might have some, eggs and some French toast, a little bit with it, but I'm there for the champagne. Okay. Like, let's be real. I don't eat during the day. I like my dinners and I like my nighttime snacks. And that's a problem because my butt does not care about my eating habits. So I have to check myself. And I did not like being fat. With after Owen, I lost my weight really fast, which is also probably me going through postpartum, but I didn't see it that way because it wasn't the same. It was completely different. I just ignored everything. And that's how I coped with things. Probably not healthy, but it
Works
was
for you. It
nothing
works
like
for
what I
you.
went through with Victoria, if that makes sense. It was
Yeah.
completely different. And I don't want to be fat. So I switched to Wellbutrin to hopefully get away from that. And it's still fine. I don't know if I still need to be on it. I don't know anything, but I do know that 2-year-olds kind of suck sometimes. So I'm going to stay on my meds because
If
it's
it's not
hard as shit.
hurting, then it's helping,
Yeah.
right?
Right. Everyone's still alive, so we're going to keep it the way it is. Just copy and paste, and that's what I do well. Let's keep going. Same way.
If
How
it
about you,
works,
Brittany?
change it, I guess, huh?
Hmm?
What?
What'd you say?
I said if it works, I guess don't change it.
Exactly. What about you, Brittany?
God, I don't even know. My postpartum was, I honestly got, because I was in the hospital for
Ever.
21 days and then had to leave him in NICU for another 9. Um, so I feel like my postpartum kind of started with feeling homesick from the freaking hospital,
Yeah.
which is wild because I wanted to get out of there so bad. Like, I was like, no, I'm going home. Like, I'll come visit my kid
Mhm.
like constantly. And I was driving up there like 3, sometimes 4 times a day. Cause it's like once you leave, there's instant guilt of like, oh, well,
You left. Yeah.
I just gave birth to this child and I'm leaving him with strangers,
Right.
you know? So I don't know. It was just very, even though I had Tyler the entire time, I feel like it was just like the loneliest time of my life because he doesn't know what the heck,
Yeah.
is happening. He just thinks I'm overly emotional and like hating my body. But
Which
really,
you are.
well, I was.
Yeah.
But before I could even recognize anything like that, it was mostly like there was like
Something missing.
silence
Yeah.
in my brain. There was nothing but like autopilot. Like I would do everything. I never didn't wake up to take care of my
Yeah.
kid or to feed him or whatever he needed. He always got, but I was like a zombie. There was nothing. You know what I mean? To
Yeah.
where the first year of his life, I swear it was like he was a year and a half and I was talking to a friend and I was like, I genuinely think I blacked out of his first year of life. Like I do not remember most of his first year, which is insane to me. Like
Yeah,
I would
because you
see
were
photos
there.
in my phone and videos and I'm like, I took that and I have no
Yeah.
clue, no memory of it. I don't
Wow.
know. It's wild. I never got on any drugs or anything like that. I
But you went
self-medicated.
to a doctor, right?
I went to a doctor once. She had told me I had postpartum rage, but she also told me I had pregnancy rage during pregnancy.
Huh.
So
I could see that too.
it was like irrational, like because I had Falco,
Yeah.
you know, and just his like pawing, because like to want to go outside, they like hit the glass, they hit the door.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, he would do it once to like let me know. And I'm like, I want to burn this house down.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Damn.
there's something wrong with me. No amount of marijuana. Well, not during
Yeah.
pregnancy, I smoked during pregnancy, but postpartum, there was no amount of weed. My body, I didn't breastfeed, but my body just still didn't want alcohol. So I didn't self-medicate
Yeah.
with that. But it just got to a point where I literally just started reading. And like at first, it was like, oh, cool, this makes me feel better. I have, you know, something to do. And now I look back, now that I still read, just not at the pace that I was. Like I was reading a book max in 4 days. So like on
And she's
average,
talking like a
every
book,
two
not
days.
like in her
Oh
ear.
no, yeah, I was physically reading. My kid was still getting taken care of, but he wasn't walking then. I like he had this giant pen. Would play with books and puzzles or whatever, and I would read like all freaking day in between my tasks. And I don't remember any of it. Like I could read those books probably, and right
I
now
would
and be
have
like,
to I would personally text her and I would be like, are you alive? Because it would be weeks before she
no,
would
yeah.
respond to me.
Literally,
And
since I have had a child, like I used to never have notifications open. I have 183 notifications not open.
Jeez.
And this is like just average
that's
now.
text
Like
messages.
back then it was like 250 and I'd be like, oh, my phone's
Nope.
not working because I'm not
Get
even looking at my texts. Like I was not, I don't know, it was crazy. But
Wow.
I feel like I mostly at first and still struggle with, because I was someone who never wanted a kid.
yeah.
Kind of a whoop surprise, you know what I mean? But to then become a stay-at-home mom and kind of lose my independence quite a bit, that's what really I think was triggering a
Yeah.
lot of my resentment. Honestly, a
Yeah.
lot of postpartum
Come on,
felt like I was just resentful a
Floyd.
lot of times,
Kenzie.
but mostly once I
Outside.
grasped the idea of like this is actually my job now, it got a little better for me to actually focus on like being okay with just being a mom, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think just oh, and working out got me out of it. But I had a
Because you
wedding.
actually physically left every day.
That was the only time I left. We ate dinners late as fuck, but like my husband knew that I needed to go and do that. I would go to both classes that they offered. I did like a lot of cardio drum. So it was like I never went to work out by myself. It was literally all women. And you got to beat on a freaking drum and sweat. Honestly,
And you
I
went
let
with
out
your mom,
a lot of
right?
rage in those. Yeah, my mom had been going for years.
I
And
love
she
that.
teaches there. So that saved me. I need to go back.
Yeah,
I can
that
feel
sounds
anger
really
building
cool.
back up.
Just now talking about it.
Yeah, and it's just because I have nowhere to release all of my
Do it,
everything.
B.
I
Absolutely do it.
Yeah, at this point it's just like because then it was the excuse of the wedding. Now
Yeah.
I'm like I'm fine with my body. Now it's just I need to release the energy, but I also want
Mental health.
everyone to have dinner at a decent time and not at 9 at night.
Yeah.
I'm very bad at balancing because once I got into working out, it went from like 3 times a week, a half hour every time I'd go, to I was going 5 times a week, sometimes six. And that was only if Tyler asked me to do something else and like basically begged me not to go. Um, and I would go for all the classes that they offered. Like on Sundays, they would do like 3 classes in a row. So I'd be there 3 hours.
Yeah.
That's just,
I mean,
I get a little hyper.
yeah, it's okay. It's part of mental health, you know? Like you just need to find a healthy relationship with it. And I think you are just knowing it. I think you're in the right step, you know?
Yeah.
Practice
Yeah.
what you preach.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What was like the factors in you deciding to end up being a stay-at-home mom versus going back to work? Was it an option, or like what led you to that?
I had the option because we had sold the house, so we had money saved up from the Colorado house. And we're lucky enough that Tyler has family that we're currently living in a house that we didn't have to pay for from them. Like we didn't buy it from them. And yeah, we just have a lot of support, which we are beyond lucky to have, like on both sides, his and mine. So, and I also just, I will say this probably 8 bajillion times, but I've watched too much true crime.
Same.
And I can't trust anybody. Like my kid stays the night at 2 places, my parents and Tyler's grandparents who essentially raised him. And very rarely is that even a thing. Like we usually, if we're like heading back home and he's not asleep, we'll still pick him up. I don't want to wake him up, but
right.
Yeah. So mostly that, yeah, I've got a lot of support and I don't trust.
It's really
cool. I was
hard.
Curious. I was just
like I have such anxiety about preschool and like sending him to school that I have thought about homeschooling.
I
know that I couldn't because I know that I wouldn't stick to the curriculum and then I would have like a weirdo kid, you know? No, I don't take that offensively. It would be me because I would be like, let's just go garden and like not learn math today.
I love that. Oh my God. I went to your homeschool too. That sounds great. Yeah, Luis was like, babe, you're not smart enough. And I was like, you're an asshole, but you're not wrong.
You are smart enough.
He was just like, you're not going to stick with that routine because he knows dang well I didn't stick with a single routine that I planned for this since day one. So
yeah,
he's not wrong. He does.
I don't have the patience to teach. Teachers like mom back.
Yeah, I like to do it for him rather than teach.
I'm right. And that's not how kids learn. I don't have the patience to do that because that's not my personality. I can show you and then you can copy, but you're not learning. You're just mimicking what I'm doing. And I can't do that. But trust is a huge thing. Like most daycares now, they have cameras everywhere where you can log in and watch for your child because if your child can't tell you what's happening, how are you going to know? How are you going to know that something's happening if they can't tell you?
Or if they're afraid to tell you, that just like scares the crap. Not to mention, just briefly, I did work in a 2-year-old room daycare.
That's true.
Just for a summer when I was 18 years old. And when I tell you I was shocked at how easy it was for me to get that job, I don't even know if they did a background check on me. And not one person in there cared about the kids whatsoever. They were mostly there to get free or cheaper childcare for themselves, which I get. But I don't want to drop my kid off to people that don't care about his well-being. You know what I mean?
But that was also what, you're 32?
I'm 31.
31. So you will in March, right?
In March I will be 32. Yeah.
Yes. I mean that's an 18. That's a big gap.
Yeah.
So hopefully it's not like that anymore, you know?
I mean, yeah, I hope. I really hope.
Yeah.
And maybe it's different and not in these little small towns that I have around me.
Right.
You know, maybe things are a little, but like,
Let's hope so.
on daddy daycare when they're like looking into
Yes.
all the places.
Yes.
That's what we got around here, girl. Okay.
Amazing.
Kids are around back. Come on. Oh God.
That's good.
Bex, how do you feel about your postpartum?
Yeah, you're in the mid, like
You're in the trenches right now.
Yeah. So I'm 4 months in. Literally yesterday was his 4 month birthday.
Oh my gosh.
I think I cried more during pregnancy and like pre-pregnancy, to be honest. I've always had depression and or anxiety. So I've always learned how to deal with it. I was on meds for mood stabilizer prior to my pregnancy and during my pregnancy. And so I'm like, I feel like I know my body, my brain really well. And ever since I gave birth, I was terrified of postpartum depression, postpartum anxiety. I've even heard of postpartum OCD, which is apparently a thing. And he's awake.
I feel like Sammy had that. She was a cleaning and doing.
Yeah. And so I was
Definitely.
like, every day I was just like waiting for it. Like, is it hitting? Is that it? Is that it? Oh, is this because I'm crying? Is that it? So like, I'm just kind of like expecting it, right? And then sometimes I'm like, okay, I think maybe it hit. And then like, I'll be like reminded like, okay, you're going through a lot of changes. I'm changing my job. I just went back to work, or he's going through regression, or I didn't sleep for 3 days or whatever. And so then there's always kind of like an excuse. Maybe it's not postpartum depression. Maybe I'm just going through some shit right now. And like, I'm, managing. So I'm kind of like, as we were texting before, like I'm kind of like in it, but I'm like dealing with it. And like I said, I think I cried more during pregnancy than I've cried since I've given birth for sure. But I'm still like just waiting for like the ball to drop. I'm like, every day I'm like, is this it? Is this feeling that? Or am I just going through, some big changes, which I am,
You are.
My job, my work, the possibility of moving.
I mean, that's all part of postpartum.
Kind of all up in the air. And it's like, on top of like learning how to be a mom and like trying to get through every day successfully, just in general, it adds up,
Yeah, totally.
So like I feel, I'm good, like I'm happy, like I'm, getting through it. But like some days I do feel like I'm just surviving and I want to be thriving. And that's definitely where I'm like, am I okay? I don't know. Am I just surviving? And is that good enough? No, it's not, because I want to be thriving and I want my baby to be thriving.
Your baby is thriving and you are thriving because you guys are both alive.
We are.
Right?
We are alive.
I still feel like I'm in survival mode some weeks. So
yeah. I mean, sometimes it's just hard and that's totally fine. And honestly, everything you just said literally says postpartum. And that's okay.
Yeah.
And you waiting and expecting it to happen is the OCD postpartum, right? Just so we're all clear.
There you go.
You're welcome.
There you go.
Just like me. So
yeah, that makes total sense. Yeah.
It's okay. And if you don't feel comfortable taking meds, that's totally fine. Brittany did it.
Yeah.
And it's whatever. It's okay to not be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's okay to not be okay.
I'm like, oh, I don't want to take meds, but I'll drink a beer or two, or I'll have a shot of Hennessy. That'll help.
Isn't beer like a beer or two? Isn't that good for your production?
Supposedly, supposedly it helps with
like the yeast
milk
or something.
production or something. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's what they say. I don't know.
Hennessy just helps with the mood.
I mean, girl,
I had Hennessy one time and one time only.
Next week, what should we do? Should we have someone come on and talk about something? What do we want to talk about?
Ashley has already volunteered and said that she'll use this time as therapy and talk about whatever we want to talk about.
That's cool.
Sweet. And she was the one that was pregnant with her.
Yeah.
Okay. She's the one that has the she had a 10-month-old baby and then got pregnant.
Yeah. She had the same
baby. That's some crazy shit.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, and now she is contemplating on a third. I said, girl, you need to think about it. I'll support you either way, but Are you sure? Are you sure?
I mean, I get it. I go back and forth so many times. I hate being fucking pregnant. If I could just magically have a child appear, I would
hate
take
being
it.
pregnant. I'm selfish and I don't want to have to be completely sober again. That sounds horrible.
Awful.
But I still stand by that. And then 3, I don't want to lose the weight again. And 4, I don't want to cry like I did.
The pregnancy tears are gnarly.
Real.
You know, I didn't cry pregnancy much. It was after. The afterwards was like,
my pregnancy crying was gnarly. But Sam, I will totally carry your baby.
I said that about you, dude.
I know, but look at how the tables have turned. I love being pregnant. I've been pregnant for the rest of my life.
Freak.
That is crazy.
Like, yeah,
it's so crazy.
How much would you charge? I told Tyler if we could afford a surrogate. I'm just kidding. We would have to literally build a room onto our house.
Kids can share. That's how you build character. That's what I tell Brayden.
No, because if my toddler's waking up the newborn, I will lose my. Well, the newborn would sleep with us, but
yeah, just keep thinking about how you did it last time. Okay.
No, every time it crosses my mind, he reminds me why I'm not gonna have a second.
Oh, Tyler or Cash?
The baby.
Oh yeah,
Tyler wants more, but no.
See, my biggest thing is I love all my siblings. Like through thick and thin, hell and high water. If I didn't have my siblings, I wouldn't be who I am. And and honestly, I feel like we're gypping her by not giving her a sibling, if that makes sense. Like, yeah, she has Owen,
but I feel bad about that sometimes, but I saw a quote and I'll never forget it. It says, your kids deserve a healthy, happy mom over a sibling, over a playmate.
Love
and
that.
I was like, okay, thank you. I'm keeping that in my mind because I would be crazy, you know?
Yeah. I mean, look at you and Alyssa. Like, you guys are two opposite people, but
we tortured
you guys
my
are who that's
up
who
until
you
we stopped living together, which is
right,
adults.
but that's okay. Because you know what? When something happens to your parents, who do you guys have? Each other.
Yeah.
Who is Victoria gonna have? Nobody. She's gonna have her cousins. And that's just as good, but is that fair to her? Because she's the only one that's gonna have to deal with it.
But I will say, when I moved states, like I made my own family out there. And I feel like that happens with only children. They like kind of.
You're not an only child. Your sister literally moved with you. I know,
but it's kind of like the same concept, you know.
But not at all, because you made a family and then you ran away back to your other family, and you left your sister.
Well, to my mother, she lives a mile down the road. I needed my mother.
I get that. Girl, I do.
She's the only one I can 1000% trust. But
I feel that so deeply.
That was the only thing that was gonna make us move back.
And I also think, Bex, that you need to also remember that too. You are alone, even though you have friends, and I love that. It's just you and Luis really out there.
Yeah, the whole friends thing. Let's just say you were right.
I know. I told you.
When before pregnancy, I make all these new friends. I moved to Long Island. I lived from California. I didn't know anybody. I finally made friends after being here for 4 years. I made good friends. Then I got pregnant, and they were still good friends. And then the baby came, and I've seen them once, maybe twice.
Yeah,
it's hard.
One single friend visited me at the hospital, and one friend has come to my house once.
Yeah,
it's really hard. It's really hard. It's a whole different ballgame. Kids with parents, moms and dads with kids understand how lonely it is, but no one knows how lonely it is until you go through it.
Yeah.
I literally apologized to my friend Sarah, who was pregnant the first year that I moved to Colorado. And so I was out of state, so it's not like I could do a whole lot, you know, but
you understood.
Like, I didn't call her and I didn't text her really at all about her baby. Like, of course I checked in on the child, but I never understood. And then whenever I moved back here and was going through it, I was like, wow, I was one of those shitty friends that
I
never
was one of those friends 2 years ago. So now I'm like,
I told her that. I said you don't understand. It's a whole different thing. Like all those friends that you supported, that's great. But were you there after?
Yeah.
And she was like, not
And
really.
I didn't really even have to go through any of that because I found who my true friends were versus my like party friends or my
Exactly.
acquaintances when I moved states, because
Yeah.
the ones that
Being-
stayed friends, they visited me rather than only hitting me up when I was in town and could like provide them with a good time, because like it was
Right.
an excuse to go to a bar and party or whatever, you know what I mean?
Right.
So when I moved back, it was like those were just the only people that I hit up and like really paid attention to. So I didn't have to do that. And then of course I have Sammy out there, but you know,
I'm a good friend.
literally the
You're
only
smart.
people from Colorado that we regularly speak to is you guys, um, the Stock twins.
Yeah.
Tyler talks to like some of the guys, but like not like it's through
Yeah.
fantasy football. It's not really like,
It's
you know
not
what
an
I mean?
everyday conversation. Yeah. No, it's
Yeah.
really hard. It's really hard when you have a family because that comes first. And
Yeah.
a lot of people don't understand that. But I am sorry that I was right.
You're always right. Come on.
I am always right. I
But
don't
no,
say
it's
it unless
okay.
I know.
I was
But
mentally prepared for it because I was also one of those people that did that to a friend or two before. So I kind of knew, like, I've seen it from that side. So now I've seen it from this side. I'm like, okay, so I was that asshole. So
it's
you get
okay.
what you
I mean,
give.
the biggest thing is you learn from it and try to reach out and mend some bonds. And like, that's literally all you can do as a human is just try to make it better and be a better person for your child.
Yeah. Oh, all good.
Yeah.
Make it work.
Yep.
All right. Well, this was good.
Yes. We'll talk to Ashley next week.
Ashley,
Okay,
next
I will
week.
double check. That
If it
she's
doesn't
off
work, we can
Wednesday
get
and not
somebody else.
Thursday, but
Yeah, we can.
and
get
then
Yeah, we got
when
plenty of shit to talk about. So
yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, do I need to tell her anything, or are we just gonna like kind of ask her?
Ask her.
Cool.
Okay.
Should we-
Love you.
bye.
Bye.